Hey, what's up, studs? Ryan here, or M&R Productions, and welcome to episode 148 of Ask M&R Productions. If you guys have a question for next week's video, definitely leave it down in the comments section below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and if you enjoy these videos, please hit that like button. Anyway, let's get into it with our first question from Cold Pizza. He says, do you ever fear retribution from the LEGO Group when you make videos criticizing them? Example, Hans Svensson. I would also assume another example would be the Han Solo and Carbonite keychain promo. I don't. I think that mindset is something I commonly see among commenters more than anyone else. I don't think it's a big deal. I think that LEGO is accepting of the criticisms that I, or anyone else for that matter, puts out there. And that's the way it should be, because if you're a company going out there and trying to shut down people that are talking negatively about you at times, then that's a problem, right? So I speak my opinion. I don't hold back. I put out what I think about LEGO. If I think it's bad, I say it's bad. If I think it's good, I say it's good. I get people saying, oh, you only complain about things. That's so far from the truth. There's a lot of things I love about LEGO, but there's a lot of things I don't like so much, and the reason I feel like I feel that way or so strongly about them sometimes is because I like LEGO so much, right? Like, you can't feel so negatively about something if you don't have a real love for it, I feel like sometimes. So I think that gets misconstrued at times, but no, I don't fear any retribution. I don't think I'm going to get kicked out of LAN. I think some people thought that could happen. That's really a sentiment I only see among comments, and not something that I really think is a reality. Come on, that Hans Svensson video is so funny. If you didn't find it funny, you just got something stuck up in you.
Oh, hi, yes, I am Hans Svensson. Thank you for having me. I've never seen the Clone Wars. What's the Clone Wars about? The only Star Wars that I know of is A New Hope. Why do you think I designed so many TIE Fighters, X-Wings, and Luke's Land Speeders? Yeah, I did not realize LEGO fans were so smart. I always thought they were stupid. You're the guy that made me make this. I think this interview is over. You just want to end it like that?
Honestly? Dane says, what do you think is the best non-vehicle set, excluding Ultimate Collector Series or Master Builder Series? Oh boy. I think Darth Vader's castle fits this build pretty well. I guess technically it has a vehicle in it, but I think the main bulk of the set is not a vehicle, notably with the actual castle. I think it's a wonderful design, great playset, and a really great display set. I have loved having it on my shelf back there, and it's one I would totally recommend to anyone. It's a wonderful set, and probably my favorite, or what I think is the best non-vehicle set. Tano Vasquez says, what set has the worst minifigure selection? Couple answers, because I think they're kind of tied in my mind. The 2018 Sandcrawler with only 6 minifigures was pretty poor, especially for $140 US. I just think you should be getting more than 6 minifigs, quite frankly. And then kind of the opposite with the 2019 UCS Imperial Star Destroyer. It only included like a couple of Imperial captains. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on that one. Maybe it's not as bad. There's part of me that feels like that 2019 Star Destroyer should have just had 0 figures. The complaining I saw with the 2 figures being just like Imperial officers, but they had really good prints and whatnot, they were nice figures, was just insane. So I don't know how I feel about that, but I think actually the 2018 Sandcrawler is probably the worst figure selection, at least in recent memory. Super Jackson Bros says, are you excited for the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special coming to Disney Plus on November 17th? Have you considered doing a live watch along with the M&R Army? Okay, that's a weird name for my fans, but yeah, I'm certainly excited to watch that. I've given some consideration to doing a watch along. Now, obviously I couldn't show it as I watched it, but we could all kind of queue up at 0 and press play at the same time. So I suppose that would be doable. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. It's one of those things that's going to come out at 3 a.m. though, and I don't know like how many people would be tuning in at 3 a.m. to watch me watch a thing, basically. And on top of that, I couldn't really talk during it too much, I guess. I don't know. It could happen, but probably not. But I definitely was planning on, in lieu of that, making a video kind of like reviewing it or something to that nature the day after it comes out. So I think that's more likely, and it's something I'm definitely looking forward to. I have no idea what to expect going into it, but I just hope it's good content. William Tedford says, what are your thoughts on the first episode of The Mandalorian? So we could definitely make this a thing every week where I talk about it a little during Ask M&R, and maybe it would be better fit at the end to avoid spoilers for those that don't want spoilers, but I'm of the mindset that if you don't want spoilers for something, why are you watching things on the internet? The whole dragon thing kind of reminded me of the Alaskan bullworm from SpongeBob, like immediately. I thought that was kind of funny. Having Cobb Vanth in there, I think that was his name, in the Boba Fett armor was definitely a wrench in there. But to me, the whole episode, kind of the ending was telegraphed. Like, I saw it from a mile away. Like, the good guys are gonna win, Mando's gonna get the armor, and everyone's gonna live happily ever after for this episode, at least. And that's kind of what happened, right? It was really neat to see Banthas and Tusken Raiders and whatnot up close and actually doing things. The story was exciting for what it was. But like I said, from a mile away, you just know kind of what's going to happen in the episode, and that's all fine and dandy. It's kind of interesting that, like, actual Boba Fett gets shown at the end. Like, I'm curious what kind of significance that may play in future episodes of The Mandalorian with the storyline and whatnot, or if it's just going to be kind of the small blip on the map. It's hard to know at this point. I would assume there would be some significance, but who knows exactly. It's an episode I'm not super high on, but I'm not super low on it either. It's just another episode to me, and I'm very much looking forward to the next one, more so than that one. Dustin says, is there any way to see the popularity of a set in terms of number of sets sold? And if so, what is the best-selling set of all time? Unfortunately, this just isn't something that LEGO provides us with. You can certainly get an idea of how popular a set is given its availability or lack thereof, but that's not always going to tell the whole story either. So it's really impossible to know exactly how many of a set is sold because LEGO doesn't tell you. If you honestly ask me what the best-selling set of all time is, the File First Battle Pack may very well be on its way, with it just selling at an insane rate. It just does not stay in stock anywhere for very long. Snazzy says, why do you pronounce it Tantive in some clips and Tantive in others, and which pronunciation is correct? Technically, Tantive is correct. However, I just don't care enough to say it correctly all the time, so I just kind of switch pronunciations based on what I feel like that day or in the moment. BManjo TV says, is there a possibility that the 2021 Imperial Shuttle is based off the ending of the Clone Wars? Just a thought I had. So I have seen this comment on my channel for like 2 weeks, right? I've seen people saying, oh, is there a possibility the Imperial Shuttle is based off the Clone Wars? And I'm like, are you an idiot? And it turns out I am the idiot in this case, because technically there's an Imperial Shuttle in the Clone Wars. Now, that being said, the Imperial Shuttle shown off in the Clone Wars is still an Imperial Shuttle. It still has Imperial figures around it. It's not like it's going to include Clone Troopers or Ahsoka or anything like that. It'd have Darth Vader, a couple Snowtroopers, and a couple Stormtroopers. That would maybe be it. It would just have, like, snowy box art next to a Crash Venator or something, like, if it's from the Clone Wars. So, to me, there is no scenario in which that actually means something significant, although it's certainly possible. I think it's highly unlikely. I think LEGO would just go with a tried and true original trilogy character filled and box art for that set. That's the way I see it. And would it not be a bit of a slap in the face for one of the Season 7 Clone Wars sets to literally be an Imperial vehicle? I feel like that'd be a slap in the face. So hopefully they just make it original trilogy, and let's move on to summer 2021, because honestly, first half year does not have very much exciting stuff. I'm just like really on the edge of my seat for the UCS sets for next year, as well as the summer sets, and we'll see what that holds. Thomas Fleming Buff says, what is the farthest place you have already drove only to buy a LEGO set? So maybe you missed this. If you don't know, I have a vlog channel. You should totally check it out. I post vlogs every week on there, and in late May, I want to say, LEGO Monkey Kid was coming out. It hadn't yet been revealed, and Just Too Good and I caught wind that a Legoland Discovery Center in Atlanta, Georgia was selling Monkey Kid sets like 3 days early. Just Too Good per LEGO channel and I hopped in my car at 2 a.m. and drove to Atlanta and drove back within the day. Atlanta is about 7 hours from my house, so it was basically a full day adventure of going to buy some LEGO sets and then back. So that's the farthest I've ever driven. There's a whole vlog on it. You should totally check it out. And subscribe to that channel if you haven't already. It's a pretty cool one. Kyle Frazier says, why can't I find polybags, specifically the 30386 Pose X-Wing on Lego.com? So this is actually something that I find odd too, but LEGO stores and Lego.com don't typically sell polybags, or at least not all of them. They will sell polybags from time to time, and Lego.com actually, for the first time ever, really, in the last few months, has started selling some of the polybags, but they don't sell all of them. So that's that's kind of hit or miss. I don't know if that's going to continue either. It may have just been a one-time thing because they didn't really have enough stuff to put on Lego.com really because of COVID, and they didn't have supply, and so maybe they just put on the poly bags. But that poly bag you can find at Walmart's or Target's, I believe, at least in the United States. If you're outside the US, can't really help you, not my area of expertise. You can always buy it on like eBay or Bricklink. I'm sure they don't cost more than like $6 or $7. Evan Moore says, what was your reaction when you saw Boba Fett's armor and saw it was just Cobb Vanth? And what was your reaction when you actually saw Boba Fett at the end of the episode? So just piggybacking a little off my Mandalorian season 2 episode 1 thoughts from earlier, I didn't really have much reaction. I'm not one of those people that you know, loses their mind, like, oh my god, you know, when you watch a reaction video, you might get this like impression that like people just lose their crap over everything. But hey, maybe I'm completely wrong, but I was like, cool guy wearing Boba Fett armor. You know, my biggest thing that actually is when he took the helmet off, the guy looked so familiar, and I could not figure out why he looked so familiar. Turns out, same guy that played a guy that's in The Office. I watch The Office a lot, and while the Office character is not in a lot of episodes of The Office, I have watched The Office enough times through in a very short period of time to just be like, I know this guy. Like, he gave Mando a smile at some point, and I'm like, bro, I've seen that smile. Where was it? And like next day I'm on some live stream. I think it was Jawa. So I don't know. Someone commented in the chat and they were like, that's Danny Cordray from The Office. And I'm like, oh my god, that's exactly who it is. That's why you look so familiar. Honestly, that was kind of my biggest takeaway from the whole Cobb Vanth thing. And then at the end, when I saw the actual Boba Fett, you know, just a guy walking in the desert or whatever, I honestly didn't even, I was like, who is this old man they're showing, right? Where's Jimmy? 24/7 says, I recently unearthed all of my old Lego from when I was a kid in the 80s, and I'm trying to decide what to do with them. I have a decent amount of classic sets from the early to late 80s, and some even include the original instructions. Should I sell them off as sets on Bricklink, or should I sell some as parts? So if you're gonna sell them, I would 100% recommend selling them as their whole set. And it's hard to know which one you're gonna end up getting more money out of in the long run, but I think as actual sets, if you're just trying to sell it all and get rid of it, you can sell it all a little bit faster than you can if you're just selling a few parts at a time and the parts get spread out and whatnot. And then two, it's just easier for you, right? If you put all the sets in their own separate bags or boxes and you just label them, when you get an order, all you have to do is ship the bag or the box. If you're selling parts and you have them all parted out on Bricklink, well, and you get an order and you got to go find all the parts and pick them in one or two of these, and you know, it just seems like a lot more hassle for you to sell them by the parts. I would totally sell them by the sets if I were in your position. Lego My Ego Studio says, will there be a Black Friday release this year? On a related note, will you be doing a Black Friday haul video? Well, I don't personally actually usually buy a lot of stuff on Black Friday, so a Black Friday haul video is rather unlikely. I may go to the Lego store on Black Friday, but honestly, I've said that the last 2 years, I don't think I've gone, so probably not. Probably no Black Friday haul video. I just don't think I'll find myself buying anything. Now, that being said, will there be a Black Friday release this year? Well, there are a couple of big Lego sets coming that have been leaked. We have the Coliseum and we have the Ghostbusters Ecto 1, I want to say. Both UCS or direct-to-consumer sets. The Coliseum is supposedly going to be the biggest Lego set ever, or at least piece count-wise, and cost, I think, $500 or $600. And then the Ecto 1 is like a $200 type of set, like a big car, basically, for the Ghostbusters. And so one of those will be Black Friday, maybe both. I think the Ecto 1 is more likely the Black Friday. I think the Coliseum is going to be coming sooner rather than later, although I have no inside knowledge on either of those. That's just my guess. So probably the Ghostbusters Ecto 1 on Black Friday, which is pretty exciting set for people that are a fan of Ghostbusters. I've never watched the movies myself, so maybe I should watch the movies and then maybe I'd buy the set, but then again, maybe I shouldn't and just save the money. Dominic Mean says, how do you get Lego to send you sets to review? Do you have to be a decent-sized YouTuber? So, like with any industry, I get industry is such a weird word to use for it, but yeah, like in the online space, right? You know, with tech, if you look at any of the tech reviewers, Sony will send PS5s to a bunch of people, right, for free early to review and do whatever they want with, or Apple will send the latest iPhones to people. It's completely normal. You know, Activision will send Call of Duty players the new Call of Duty game early and for free. And in this case, it's just Lego. They do the same thing, right, with the bigger influencers in the space, if you will. So yes, you have to have a decent size following. That's just kind of how things like that work, right? pretty straightforward. Now, as far as maybe how you would specifically go to inquire about that, they have a program called the Lego Ambassador Network that you can apply to. And I'm gonna be really straight with you here. I'm gonna take the glasses off, even though I caught myself shaving. If you want to get in the LAN, I 100% think it's easier to make a blog and just write about Lego and get in the Lego Ambassador Network. I really genuinely do. So if your goal is just to get free Lego sets, then making a blog and writing about, like, just have a good looking blog, write about Lego sets. You don't have to get any interaction. You don't have to even be that popular. You get in. It's a lot easier. I'm telling you, it is. I truly believe that from the bottom of my heart. And I also think the blogs get some preferential treatment because Lego's so old media driven. So if you want free Lego sets to review, that's not a bad way to go, I suppose. Lego Tendo says, what are your thoughts on online schooling? Do you think all kids should go in person or on Zoom? So I assume with your second question, you're more referring to the COVID situation. And that's definitely touchy. I think right now, certainly, there should be a lot more online school than there is. But as far as my thoughts on online school in general, in college, I took some online classes, and the problem with online classes is that, and this is not my words, this is someone on Twitter that I saw like 6 months ago, and it was just I really related to it. The problem with online classes is that they feel so optional when they are not. So think about that. That's why I think physical school is and probably always will be better than online school, just because it feels less optional so that you don't fall into a bad rut with it. Ryan wants to know if I ever plan on getting married and when. Well, I currently do not have a girlfriend, so and I feel like, I would want to date someone for at least 3 years. So at least 3 years from now, it's not something I'm in any rush to do. Honestly, it's not that important to me right now. I have a lot of things going for me. I like having all the freedom I have right now, and maybe in the next decade, I'm in no rush. I'm just in no rush. Final question from HH on the one. He says, what is one set that you really want but haven't pulled the trigger on yet? Doesn't necessarily need to be Star Wars. Mine personally is either the UCS Slave 1 or UCS TIE Fighter. Dude, buy the UCS Slave 1. God damn, what are you waiting for? It's just gonna keep going up in value, especially now that Boba Fett's back. I would say it's more of a general thing with me, because I feel like anytime I see something, I'm just like, oh, I'll buy that. Oh, I'll buy that. Which is amazing, and I'm really blessed to be in that position where I can do that. But I think that Winter Village sets are something that I've been wanting to pull the trigger on, but just have not yet. Like older ones. Like I've gotten the last few years of Winter Village sets, and I like them. But I feel like once I get my own house in the next, 3 to 6 months, then I'll be able to actually Winter Village sets and do that every year where I have like a Winter Village. I think that'd be really cool. And then the other thing that I really want to pull the trigger on but haven't yet is more Pirates of the Caribbean sets. I loved rewatching Pirates of the Caribbean earlier this year, and I cannot wait to get all of the sets. I have a few of them, but it's just, to me, I don't have the space to save the sets right now. I don't need them right now, but at some point I'm gonna finish buying all of them and make videos on them, and I cannot wait for that. So it's something I really want but haven't pulled the trigger on yet, just out of necessity to save money and space. So that is it for Ask Avatar episode 148. I hope you guys did enjoy. Again, if you have a question for next week's episode, leave in the comments section down below, and while you're down there, make sure you hit that like button.